witnessed something, thinking, what the heck is going on right now? That's basically my feelings about this press conference. This press conference at Bayern just has to be one of the funniest, but also honestly one of the best in the regard that it's just a good lecture in what not to do. Yeah, let me just go through it just for those of you guys who haven't watched it or whatnot. Where do we begin? It's like seeing a car crash and just not knowing is this the right way? Is this a good car crash or a bad crash? And there are no good car crashes, but this one just seemed like it just seemed like a disaster, and you're just watching and you're thinking, okay, what is going on here? But we started off the press conference. I thought, pretty amicably. I thought, okay, you know what? A solid topic to talk about, and that was basically the club coming together saying that they're going to stand behind the team, they're going to stand behind the coach. Rummenigge, and Salihamidzic, we're basically saying that, we're going to stand behind the players, we're going to stand behind the coach. We're not going to take the slander from the newspaper anymore, and we're not going to just allow you guys to target the Bayern players, just the Bayern players. It wasn't just like, let's target the team, the Germany team, or the Bayern team as a whole. It was just specifically a certain group of players that were just constantly being targeted. So the club came together and essentially said, we won't stand for that anymore, and we will now take legal actions to ensure that that's not going to happen in the future anymore. And I thought, you know what? Fair enough, Some of you might say, free speech and whatnot. To be fair, there is no free speech in Europe. That doesn't exist. That's just a concept that doesn't actually exist. I mean, there is a free speech to a degree for the media, but that's a whole different situation. But free speech as a whole doesn't really exist. Yeah, let me just throw that concept right out the way, out the window. But point is, right, regardless of how you may think about that, it was a good statement. It was a good, it was a good showing of the team being, together, of the higher ups being together. Them putting their foot down, saying, you know what, we won't stand for this anymore. This is our club. These are our players. If criticism is fine, but once you go into, harsh criticism is also fine. But once you go into disrespectful criticism, that's when you're taking it too far. And I thought, you know what, fair enough, right? Then it gets so much worse. Then you go on and on and on about, we're going to now sue you lot for fake news stories, for fake transfer stories, for fake transfer rumors, for everything. We're going to sue you lot. If you guys, for example, if you guys want to talk about, like, if you guys want to report the Tolisso injuries, being this and that, and we're gonna sue you for that. If that's wrong. If you guys want to, for example, there was a rumor I think that came out like yesterday or 2 days ago about like us being interested in Jordan Sancho. I think it was Uli Hoeneß that basically said, we saw your report on that like 2 days ago and whatnot, and you know what? For a news story as fake as that, we're gonna sue you. And Christian Falk was like, hey, can Brazzo, you can tell Hamish just confirmed to me that he didn't talk to Jordan Sancho. He's like, you're gonna get your answer through the newspaper with our lawsuit. And I was like, bruh, okay. We need to all. The funniest part was, it wasn't just pretty much, I fully expected this press conference to be a shit show, to put it nicely. I fully expected that, right? Because when you have those, especially Salihamidzic, not so much. Like, he barely got a few words in. Like, he was just saying, yeah, this and that, and that was it. But it was really just Uli Hoeneß and Carlos Rummenigge. They were like, okay, fam, we're not gonna take this easy anymore. We're going to war with all of you. Sue you. I almost felt like I was watching Trump there. Like, okay, fake news, sued. And that's just basically the way it seemed. That's honestly just the way it seemed. But the funny part was, right, the journalists were hitting back. Like, they weren't just taking it like They were like, okay, you know what? You want to bring the heat? We're bringing the heat. We're fighting back right now. And that's basically what they were doing. Like, they were like, okay, you know what? You're calling our criticism of the players harsh, disrespectful, and unfair. What about you recently, eh? What about you, Uli Hoeneß, recently, eh? Didn't you call Mesut Ozil's performance as garbage, as trash, huh? And he was like, well, I shouldn't have called it trash. I shouldn't have called it garbage. I shouldn't have called it as crap. I should have called it as trash. Let's get it real here. And that's basically what Uli Hoeneß was saying. And he was like, I mean, to be honest here, to be totally honest here, I was in a very emotional state because right then, back then, that was a very emotional moment just after the World Cup and everything. Emotions were highs and all that kind of stuff. So it's a different situation here. But you guys, you guys just you guys write your stories. It takes like a day, to edit and a day to just go through it, make sure is this what I want to write. You guys actually take your time with saying things, with writing things. Whereas whereas I just said that on the spur of the moment. That's the difference. I may have gone too far. Maybe. No, I didn't. No, I didn't, right? But, just let's just calm down. I may have gone too far, but nah, I didn't, right? But you guys who spend a day writing these stories and then a day editing these stories and then still upload these disrespectful newspapers, you lot are at fault here. It was just a constant back and forth. And then the Bernat story, which at first I was like, what's going on here? But basically like a journalist, I think it was the journalist who started, or was it Ole Hoeneß who started? I don't know who started it, but essentially Ole Hoeneß was like, okay, we demand more respect for the Bayern players. And then he was like, but Bernat, he was absolutely trash against Sevilla and almost single-handedly made us lose against Sevilla. We shipped him off. we shipped him off, right? But we demand more respect for our Bayern players. I mean, come on, we deserve more respect. But Bernat, he was trash, so we sold him to PSG. So see you later. Peace out. And it was just FC Hollywood. FC Hollywood. FC Hollywood is officially back. The most interesting part, though, I think not the most interesting, but the most lasting part here is that Bayern is going at war against the Springer Media Group, which is the Springer Media Group that's Bild and Sport Bild. Those two, obviously they were going against Christian Falk, specifically, but they're also going against the Springer Media Group. So Bild and Sport Bild. So I fully expect us, in the next few, even today actually, in the next few days, the next few weeks, like these next few moments and whatnot, to honestly just I don't actually know. I could see going two ways. Either the first way, where basically you're just gonna see a lot of pieces, a lot of media pieces, a lot of editorial pieces by Bild and Sport Bild of slandering Bayern. I can definitely see that being the case. Or the second thing is, I can see there just being nothing. They're just gonna ignore Bayern, which I don't think they can. It's just not gonna work. They could just ignore Bayern for a few weeks to basically demonstrate. Like a protest and whatnot. That's not going to work because Bayern just sells way too much, right? It's just the way it is. It's just the biggest club in Germany, one of the biggest clubs in Europe. We just sell too much newspaper, so I don't see that being the case. Regardless, right? Let's get the good points out of the way. Again, I like them standing behind the team. Especially they mentioned Neuer, saying Neuer has been out for a year. He's been injured for a whole year, missed the whole season. Of course he hasn't. Of course he hasn't been good. He's had a few flaws lately. 2 games in particular where he looked very, very poor. But he's been the world goalkeeper for 4 years, and especially after a year out injured like that, he deserves more respect than that. So that was I like that. I like that a lot because I thought that's why I didn't even mention the Neuer criticism at all, because the Neuer criticism to me was just absolutely ridiculous. The guy's been out for a year basically, comes back, had one amazing performance, and then a few that here and there not as good, still a few shaky performances here, but again he's just come back, so I'm like, okay, fair enough, fair enough. As long as you see glimpses, which we've seen, that you can get back to form, I'm like, okay, fair enough, no comments from me. Then he talks about Mats Hummels and Boateng, saying that the criticisms those two have received has just been abnormal. I can sort of agree with that, yes. I feel like a lot of that has been brought on by Mats Hummels himself, as much as I don't like to admit that, but I feel like his comments themselves have, kind of brought that on himself. But I still feel like sometimes the criticism goes a little bit too far. I'm talking about media. I'm not talking about the individual person on Twitter or Reddit or Facebook or whatever. Because those are the fans. Most of the time, 90% of I think 9% of the people that watch this channel as well. I mean, this channel is basically dead. Let's be totally honest here. It's basically dead, right? Let's be totally honest here. But I feel like most people that watch this aren't even Bayern fans. If I had to estimate, I'd say maybe 10 to 15% of people that watch these videos are actually Bayern fans, and the rest are just opponent fans, either trying to trash talk or try to just like see what's going on with other clubs. You know, that's basically the way I see it. But yeah, that's why I don't really take like Twitter accounts and Facebook accounts and like all these social media accounts into consideration when I say media. You know, we're talking about like actual media, you know, that sell newspapers or magazines or whatnot. You know, so I was like, you know, fair enough. Then they talk about Robin and Ribery, saying, you know, these two players, they've spent a decade at the club. They've done so much for the club. They're one of the reasons why the club right now is in such a good position. Why the club is doing so well, or has done so well historically, you know, in the last few years in Europe, and they deserve more respect. You know, fair enough. I agree with that. I feel like, again, criticism is fine. That's not what I feel, but they basically said criticism is fine, but disrespect is not, and I can sort of agree with that. But then again, the question is, where does, you know, criticism lead into disrespect? Because I feel, you know, I personally feel a lot of people will disagree, and I don't really care, to be fair. You know, I don't care. If you want to disagree with me, I don't really care. That's fine. You know, I'm not here to like please you or anything. I'm not here to be like, oh, you know what? Please change your opinion to mine. No, I don't care about that. But the point is, right? I feel like a lot of fans recently, and there's been like this. From what I've seen, just from what I've noticed, right, there's been like this, if you want to call it a movement, let's call it a movement, but there's been like this movement where like a lot of the fans are criticizing the club, the higher ups and whatnot, and then there's a lot of like that's one side, and then you have like the other side of like just fans saying you're not real fans, you know, you shouldn't be criticizing, you should just be accepting whatever happens. And I feel like both sides are totally okay. I feel like, you know, if you want to feel one way, that's fine. If you want to feel the other way, that's fine as well. The way I always see it is like, at least that's the way. Like, again, I'm not gonna. Most of you guys, or some of you guys, may not agree. Other guys will totally agree. I feel like you should be able to criticize anything. I honestly do. I feel like criticism often is, you know, the reason why things progress. Criticism is often why we advance. And so criticizing the club, the players, your players that aren't playing on form and whatnot, and so on and so forth is all totally fine. But I feel like there also has to be a limit. Like, I feel that's why I never go into like the disrespectful category. I never disrespect players or the coach specifically. I will call them out though for the bullshit, and I feel like that's fine. But again, the club seems to think, you know, disrespect. We're gonna slander. We're gonna take you out now legally. And again, the question is, where does disrespect and criticism meet? Like, where is that middle ground? You know, where criticism turns into disrespect. You know, that's just a very difficult ground to figure out. So it's going to be interesting few weeks, interesting few months. That was fun. I'll be honest, that was fun. I was just sitting there like, okay, this is either going to be two things. First of all, like, this press conference, there's two reasons for this, right? Either the first one, we're announcing a new sponsor or something, right? There's been rumors of BMW for a while now. The second one, we're gonna just stand behind Kovac, and it was a bit of both. It was not a bit of both. It was about a bit of like the latter one, but it was just much more attack. It wasn't like a defense move. It wasn't like, okay, we're gonna protect Kovac and whatnot. It was like, okay, we're gonna fucking kill you all. We're gonna attack you all. You know? We're not gonna stand back. We're gonna go straight for you. And you know what? It was enjoyable. That's all I will say. It was enjoyable, right? A lot of good moments from it, and it was just very enjoyable. Anyway, folks, I will see you all in the next one, everyone. Peace out and have a nice day. Bye.